welcome back to your weekly track guide from MRC. And this time we are in the Circuit of the Americas here in Texas for a quick lap around here, and then a slow lap showing you the braking points around this very technical, very difficult circuit here. So outside the final corner, DRS wide open on the Sauber, down the start, finish straight hill to the braking, usually about second gear corner, blind apex. Car straightened up to maximise the traction down the hill, flat out through turn 2. The track, right, left, every time maximising the track down to 6th gear. What is going to bring the car in 5th gear for the left-hander, then the 4th gear for the long right-hander. Potential upshift early to 5th to maximise the traction stability. As we now pick the braking point around 100 metre board or so. Second gear again, important to get the car straight once more for the very long run down to turn 12. DRS is active once more. Very high top speed down here, one of the main overtaking points. About 130 metres and hit the braking point once again. Downhill braking, using as much curb as possible. Touching second gear around there, bring the car to the left for this very slippy, slidey section. Third gear on there, up to fourth. As much of the track, widening each part, a lot of understeer through this part of the circuit, second gear to get the car rotated, then flat out through this final sector, using the second apex of the triple right-hander, bringing the car to the right-hand side, black box to brake, fourth gear, however you're comfortable. It's got the braking third gear for the final corner, get the traction down, DRS wide open, the short run to the line, and there is a lap of COTA.
Yep, so as Mark said, a very busy, very technical track, and just from this point here, just after the start-finish line, you can see the huge undulation up to turn 1. So turn 1, you're approaching 190 miles an hour or so. On the right-hand side, you can see a 100-metre board. You're going to drive over to it on the grass. Wait, you should never ever be. If you can see this 100-metre board when you're doing 190 mile an hour, I would be shocked because I cannot see it. What I can see is the black box just up here. So we're going to get back on the track now, and as you see here, the black box just there. Now, as Mark said, it is a blind apex. I'm going to hold the brake because the car is in gear and does not stay straight on the hill. Now, you cannot see the turn, let alone the apex. You cannot see anything apart from sky, crane, tree. So black box on the right hand side, brake very, very hard. And as you come up the hill, eventually you will come over this crest and see the corner. So don't turn in until you start to see that curve on the left. Turn in. Now there's multiple lines you can take. You can take the curve like this, which I personally think is the optimal line. Alternatively, if you want to take a wide line, go slightly deeper and do the V line where you cut back. It means you miss the apex, but that is also fine. You may get an outright traction advantage down the hill. Keep it nice and tight, take plenty of the curb. Now again, look at the rally board, you cannot see the next sequence of corners. This is a very fast flowing section. Come into this in the middle of the track, 7th gear. Look for that first curve. As soon as you see it, throw the car at it. Take it hard. Again, keep the foot planted on the throttle. Take this curve, still in 7th gear. Again, throw it over, still in 7th. At this point, don't be afraid to shift down to 6th around here. Stay wide before tightening for the second part of this corner. Bring the car as far to the right as you can. When you hit the curve, downshift again into 5th and take all of this curve. You'll come to the middle of the track, keep pulling the car to the left, and then for this corner here, downshift into 4th, half throttle at this point, because it's very low traction. Keep it half throttle, be patient, take the plenty of the curve on both, into 5th, and don't go over this curve here, it will drag you wide. Take this little bit of curve here into 6th and then 7th. Now you're going downhill, you've got quite a bit of speed on you. This is a very good overtaking zone. You can see the track is wide, but gets even wider. We're going to touch on the wide line of this hairpin shortly, but first, before we get to the hairpin, spot the braking zone. 100 metres is your best friend. At most tracks, this corner is no different. Whack the brakes on, full whack at 100 metres. You can go slightly later if you dare, but 100 is optimal. Get to the corner. Now you can either take right turn 1, a very wide apex. It's a very similar kind of projection. You can take a wide line like this, like the V line, and then cut back and get great traction on the exit. Or, alternatively, we're going to spin round and demonstrate an alternative. It's actually quite fun backwards. Alternatively, you can turn in early, as I did on the track guide, and take plenty of this inside curb and let the car run wide and use this exit curb here. As you can see, the car is not unsettled, and then don't be cautious, get the DRS open as soon as you can. This section here, even with high drag, you'll be hitting 200 miles an hour. This, in the race, is also a great place to use your ERS, as is coming into the hairpin we just got to. Now then, 120 metre boards. Wish we had one, but we don't, so we've got to use our brain. The 150 boards just behind us, the 100 boards are just ahead of us. Roughly 130 to 120 metres, you'll be braking hard. Don't go over this curve on the right. Keep it as far right as you can without touching it. Brake hard.
Actually, sorry Chris, I just
No,
want
go
to
ahead.
say something there. If you go backward a little bit to about the 150, there is actually an overhanging there AWS board there over the track. There could be pretty much a good little marker there, but just after that 150 there could be a good little marker there.
It could indeed. Very good point. So feel free to work with those markers. You have a few to work with there. You're going downhill, 200 mile an hour, but despite how tight this corner is, you'll have more grip here than you actually think. Keep the brakes on and have faith. Start to trail brake and lift off the brake. Don't be afraid to take plenty of this inside curb and then let the car run wide. Now, on the left hand side here, as soon as you get the car straightened up to the left, back on the brakes. Turn in, take as much of this inside curb as you dare. Don't go too wide, but keep the car to the middle of the track. Short shift into fourth gear from third. Again, middle of the track for the whole of this sequence here until here. Then let the car lazily go out wide to the end of this curve here, and then turn sharply. The end of that curve there is the perfect lineup, and that line there gives you the perfect exit as you head towards this 4-part apex. Go wide, miss that first apex, and as Mark said, take the second apex, start this curve here. The car will naturally run wide again to the middle of the track. Pull it in tight to the right, and look, just ahead of us, there's that black box on the right hand side above the Salesforce marking. Just before that black box, get firm on the brakes, double downshift, throw it in at this curb, half throttle, and let the car run out wide onto this curb. You'd be surprised how much grip you have. Same again for this final corner, you've got the black box just on your right. Use that as your marker again. It's slightly early, but then you can lift and coast through the final corner, which when you have high tyre wear in the race, that will be a saving grace. The DRS is very early, as is the start-finish line, so don't be too aggressive on the exit. Be cautious, because again, tyre wear in the race will come into effect and you could kill your tyres quite early. In regards to ERS use, this is a common question we're asked, so let's speed the lap up slightly. Into turn 1, you might use a little bit, but you have DRS, I would save it. Out of turn 1, tiny blast down this section here, maybe, but again, I'd save it, and I would personally be putting the car into non-ERS, or no ERS. This gives you slightly more traction balance, slightly less power of course, but will allow you to have a bit more control over the car. The car will be more free to move in a controlled manner rather than spinning at the rear end, so the change of direction will become more easy to navigate. But through this whole section, no ERS at all. The other benefit to this is you'll save battery for later on a lap, such as here. This is a place where I'd want to dump a good 10% of battery. On the brakes here, 100 metres before, take it slightly steady. Again, I like that inside curve quite aggressively. Some people like a later apex to miss the curve. Personal preference. I use plenty of battery here. Yes, it's a DRS straight, and in this video and the previous video at Monza I said don't use ERS on DRS straights. I would use a good chunk here because of how much battery you can save elsewhere. Again, keep on the battery a tiny bit here on the exit, just a tiny bit, and then be back into none for this sequence here. You're not going to gain much, and you're not going to be making many moves, and if you are, it won't be because of the battery. Into none here, and then back into medium ERS, dash of overtake, before being back into medium for this corner here. And that allows you to fully recharge up again before you get to the start finish line. Now, for some of those who again struggle with pit entries, the pit entry line here is a little bit different. You've got a dotted line and no forced measure line for pit entry, so you can enter the pits here, unlike some tracks, over this line just here, a bit later than most. and that's because of the dotted line. You will not get penalised for it. However, if you come in too hot here, don't be surprised if that happens. Only you lose a wheel. It's happened to myself, it's happened to many others. So what I'd advise is taking this line here, the wider approach, take plenty of this red bit on the inside, and of course the game wants to ruin that for us, so we'll just do another demonstration. Just like that. Now of course we can't quite bring it to the line because the game doesn't allow us to, but that is the line you want to take for the pit entry. You can take it with a fair bit of aggression, just be cautious of that pit wall.
Absolutely, thank you so much, Chris. Great insight there to a very technical, very difficult circuit. So hopefully everybody enjoyed our video this week. We'll be back very soon for more F1 track guides from MRC. So until then, we will see you very, very soon, folks. Take it easy. Bye for now.